Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So if you are preparing for Power BI or data analyst interviews, then today's video is going to be extremely valuable for you. So one of my friends recently appeared for an Accenture Power BI developer interview, and after the interview he shared all the actual technical questions that were asked to him. Okay, so in this video I'm going to solve those exact questions one by one, and I'll explain the concepts behind them and also tell you how you should answer them confidently in the interview. So please don't skip any of my question, because even a simple looking question can be favorite among interviewers. Okay, so let's dive straight into the actual interview questions. So first we will start with the Power BI questions, and next we will go to the SQL questions. So coming to the first question, when you connect to a data source, by default Power BI compresses the data to less than 10 GB. So why did it happen? So you can answer it like this is because Power BI uses a in-memory engine which is called VertiPack, and it acts like a data compression tool. So a VertiPack is a high performance columnar storage engine which compresses the data up to 90% of its original size. It means that 100 GB of raw data will be compressed to only 10 GB before loading it into Power BI. So it will be a very good answer, and it is a very compressed answer you can give to the interviewer. So what is fuzzy matching? The next question. So you can answer like, when we try to join the two tables together in Power Query editor, it may happen that the values of the common column in both the tables may not exactly match. Okay, but may be differ by case, a difference in case, or may have a space in between them. So fuzzy matching, what it does is it ignores these things and take both of the columns as the common column to join the tables. Okay, so coming to the next question, what is the difference between a matrix and a table? So this is one of the most important questions which is generally asked in most of the Power BI interviews. So there are four important points that you can give. That is, for a matrix it's a 3D format visual, a table is a 2D format visual. A matrix supports row groups as well as column groups, whereas a table supports only row groups. For matrix, it is usually used for analysis of the raw data, and for table it is used for displaying the raw data. You only display the raw data in a table. And some functionalities of matrix includes drill down functionality, whereas table is used for sorting, filtering and conditional formatting. So these are the four most important points that you can use to give the difference. So next, the question that was asked was, what is the difference between custom column and column from example? That you can tell that you have to write a formula manually using Power Query or M language for a custom column. Okay, so you have to write a formula manually. But for column from example, Power Query generates the formula automatically based on the examples you provide. So based on the example you provide for the first value, it will give the values for the other columns. So the next point which you can tell is, a custom column requires knowledge of M functions that that I have already told. It requires knowledge of M functions, but no coding knowledge is required for column from example. Okay, so custom column, it is more flexible and suitable for complex logics, because you can define your own formula, you can define your own logic functions, and you can solve a complex scenario. Okay, but column from example, what is best for single transformations like splitting, extracting and formatting. And custom column, it's easier to customize and maintain for advanced scenarios. And column from example, it is good for quick transformations but limited for complex logics. Okay, so these are the four important examples or differences that you can give between custom column and column from example. So coming to the next question, what is the difference between calendar and calendar auto function? Okay, so you can describe or you can tell your answer like, calendar function. In calendar function, you can manually specify the start, end and the end dates. So you can it will give all the dates between the specified start date and the end date for calendar function. But for calendar auto function, what it does, it automatically creates the date range based on the dates in your data model. So it will automatically identify the date column from your date table, and from your table, and it will give the range of dates from that. I mean, within that column, it will give the range of dates having a start date and the end date. So it will be automatic. But calendar function gives you full control over the data range, over the date range, and calendar auto function is very much less convenient over the range, because it allows you to the calendar auto function, it takes the dates automatically from your date column, so it has a less control over the date range. Okay, so what is the calendar function useful? It is useful for production models with fixed date ranges, and calendar auto function is useful for quick development or prototyping. Okay, so these were the three most important differences between calendar and calendar auto function. So coming to the next question, what are the relationship functions in DAX? So the four types of relationship functions in DAX are related table, use relationship, and cross filter. So you can tell them these are the four relationship functions. Okay, so the next question that was asked was three options which is present in the drop down for a bookmark. So when you create a bookmark, the interviewer asked that what are the options that you can create when you right click on that particular bookmark option. So you can tell them that we can see all visuals, selected visuals, current page, current visuals, or we can also see delete. Okay, these are the options you can see on the bookmark. So the next question that was asked was difference between related and unrelated table. So for related table, basically you can say that it has a relationship defined between the tables using a common key between the two tables. Okay, and for unrelated table, there is no relationship that exists between the two tables. So the next point you can say like filters and slicers work across both the tables for related table, and for unrelated table, filters do not propagate between the tables. There are no filters that propagate. So for third point you can mention that functions like related and related table can be used, because in order to use the related and related table functions, an active relationship must be exist between the two tables. So you can use functions like related and related table, but in unrelated table you cannot use related and unrelated table functions directly. Okay, and what is the best use case for related table is it is used for star schema models for efficient analysis, and unrelated table what is used for, it is used for disconnected slicers, parameter tables, and what if analysis. So disadvantages of DirectQuery mode in Power BI. So this is also one of the most important questions asked in most of the Power BI interviews. So the first important point that you can tell that the DAX functions that you can use is very limited. Okay, I mean you cannot use time intelligence functions and most of the complex DAX functions in DirectQuery mode. Okay, the next point you can tell that you cannot use or you cannot build complex data models in a DirectQuery mode. So you cannot connect to data from multiple data sources, and you cannot do complex data transformations or data modeling in DirectQuery mode. So two important points. And the third point you can tell that the performance of the report is also slow in DirectQuery mode, because every time you click on some slicers or you click on some table for retrieving the data, the slicers or the table has to send back a query to the underlying data source in order to get the data. So it becomes a very much slow. The report performance becomes very much slow, because the connection of the data source and the report is direct. So it uses a schema, and every time you click on some table or you click on some slicers, it sends a response or a query to the underlying data source for capturing the data. Okay, so it becomes slow. So these are the three important points that you can tell as a disadvantages. So the next question that was asked, that what is a UTC now function. So the UTC now function, what it does, it returns the current date and time in the coordinated universal time, which is equivalent to the Greenwich Mean Time. So it gives the current date and time of the Greenwich Mean Time. So it may be required in some of your projects, or which is a UK based projects or US based projects. Accordingly, you can use to display the current date and time for for the universal coordinated time. Okay. So the next question that was asked was calculate the running total for sales. Okay. So you have to write the DAX code for this. So I have already written the DAX code. If you can see, the running total is equal to calculate sum of sales of total sales, filter all sales, sales of order date less than equal to max of sales of order date. So first let's understand the DAX code in small parts. So calculate sum of sales of total sales. What is it doing? It is calculating the sum of sales. Okay, sum of sales of total sales column. So it is calculating the total sales sum, and on what it is applying a filter, and it is doing a all of sales. All of sales means it is removing all the filters from the table, all the active filters from the table. So the condition is like sales of order date should be less than equal to max of sales of order date. So this part is usually doing the cumulative part. Max of sales of order date, there is a column of order date, and it is calculating the max of order date. So the condition will be true until the current sales of order date is less than equal to max of sales of order date. So this condition is usually doing the running total or the running sum. Okay, so first row context, if there is 100, and the next row context there is 200, for the next row context you will get 200 plus the previous row context, that is 200 plus 100, that is 300. So similarly for the next one, if there is 300, you will get 300 plus 200 plus 100, that is 600. So it will calculate the cumulative sum. So coming to the SQL questions, so there were only 2 questions that were asked to him. So the first question was, what is the order of execution of SQL statements? So this is also a very important question. So there is a particular sequence in which the SQL statements perform. So although it is written in a different order in your series of SQL statements, but the order of execution is different. So the order of execution follows like, first comes the from, then join, then where, then group by, then having, then select, then distinct, then order by, then limit, then offset, and at the last there will be top. So this is the order that it follows in terms of execution. So the next question that was asked was a hands-on question that was given by the interviewer to solve. So split email ID into first name and last name. Okay, so I have already written the code and I'll explain it to you. That is, select email ID, left will use in order to extract the first name. So left function, what it does, it starts capturing the characters from the left side of the string up to a specified length of the string. Okay, so left of email ID will specify the length up to how much we need to extract for the first word or the first name. So character index of dot. Okay, so we need to extract the first name, and we will identify the end of the first name, which is dot. So character index of dot. But do we need dot in our first name? No, we don't need the dot. So character index of dot in email ID -1. So it will give the length of the first, starting from the first index up to dot -1. So we'll get the first name Rakesh. Okay, then in order to extract the second name, we'll make use of substring function. So substring function is also used to extract certain characters from your from your string, but the start index will be specified by you. Instead of starting from the extreme left, the start index of the capturing of the characters will be specified by you. Okay, so substring in what? Substring in email ID. The first starting index will be, we will start for the second name dot plus 1. So after dot we will start for extracting the characters of the second name. So the start index is character index of dot email ID plus 1. So we are starting from dot plus 1. So, and what will be the length? So the length we will calculate by character index of @ in email ID. So character index of @ in email ID, we will get the length from starting from left to right up to email ID, right? But do we need the length of Rakesh in extracting the second name? No. So what we will do, we will simply do a minus of the length of Rakesh and also the dot, which is Rakesh minus 1 from the length of the second name, right? So for the length of the second name, I am again telling, it is simply doing starting index is from dot plus 1 for extracting the second name Sharma, and the length character index is what it does, it again starts from the first. So again starting from the first, and it will do up to @. So @ is marking the ending portion for the second name, right? But do we want the first name in here? No, we don't want the first name. So we are doing simply we are subtracting the length of the first name from the entire name Rakesh.Sharma, right? And we are giving it as last name from employees. So the output will be Rakesh and Sharma. So if you need these questions along with the answers in a document format, you can simply mail at my email ID asking for the answers. I will simply send it to you so that you can take preparations by solving this real-time interview questions. Okay, just simply mail at my email ID, which you can see in the screen, and I will send the answers to you in a document format. Okay, so if you like this video, simply like and subscribe to the channel for more such content for solving the real-time Power BI interview and SQL questions. Okay, it will really motivate a lot. Thank you so much.